everyone, Auntie Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Klinger, here sharing my first play with the new releases from the latest Art by Marlene release. And this art journal page fits the prompt for today in the Art by Marlene Mayflower Challenge, which is Relax, which is the last one for it. So as soon as I saw it was Relax, I thought I've got to use that new bath set that's just been released. I also used the new quotes. I grabbed an older stencil. I will list all of these products, the codes that I've used, and I grabbed some paint colours, and I got a couple of the sponges, and I've also used a plan to use this napkin, so or new paper tissue, and of course I've got the brushes. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. So basically this is my little book that I've been making for the Mayflower Challenge, and because I'm doing a double page spread and because they're little signatures, they're not quite joined together, so I just want to mask off in case my paint seeps underneath the centre. I just masked off the page that it could go onto just to protect it. So I grab a couple of the stamps, and really this part is me just playing and kind of working out what I want to do. And so I decide to do a bathroom, and so the girl in the bath, and I think the mat will look cute. I also think that stripe I pulled off will probably work really well as skirting. So I'm just sort of playing around, and I marked off where I want it, and I've had an idea. I've done quite a few black and white striped pages. They're actually on the inside of my art journal that I've created, and I've had lots of people message me about them, and I've used them as the vases in a couple of prompts as well. And so I just thought they're super easy. It's just black paint, and I don't measure. I just eyeball it, and I just quickly get one of the flat brushes and paint them out. So that's showing it in my journal. So I've just done it to that line because I want it to look like stripy bold wallpaper. And so now I'm just stamping that there's a line stamp in the new release with that bath set, and it's like a little skirting board. I didn't quite stamp it high enough, so just to fix that, I've just come in with a pen and just adding a fine extra line. So the stripes go all the way down to the skirting board. Okay, so now I think, well, I've got some bold black and white, so I'll come in with some Ballet, which is your hot pink, and do some, I guess tiles, probably tiles in a bathroom. So I just firstly painted all with the Ballet and I dry it off. And because I'm actually going to put some texture on this, I'm not too worried if it's not perfectly painted. So then I come in with some white paint, which is the lace paint. And I grabbed that, this is from the Sofishticated range. And I decided to have the scallops going this way, hoping they look a bit like tiles. And then I'm just popping my stencil down, and with the end of the new sponges, I'm just dabbing it in the paint, dabbing a little bit off, and then bouncing it up and down onto the page. And I really like how that came up and how that looks. So I pop that to the side, and I decide that I will stamp the images that I want and then cut them out and adhere them to my page rather than sort of stamping them directly onto the page. So I think I need to have some flowers in there somewhere, and I figure that napkin would make a really cute bath mat with the flowers on it. So what I've done is I've just torn a little bit off and adhered it to just some mixed media paper using gel medium. So I put a little bit underneath and a bit on top just to seal it. And you can see that little bath mat sitting there. Now I decide I'll use the little stool, and I'll use that cute little mirror. And of course I need to have the girl in the bath. And I think on top of the stool I decided to add a couple of books and a wine glass. So I was thinking about myself and what I like to do when I relax. I actually love to have baths, and usually can be found with a glass of wine and a book in my hand in the bath. So that's what I've gone with here. So now I'm using the new watercolours. These are gorgeous. Marlene always does such pretty colours in the watercolours. And I'm just colouring in these. And I mainly just use it as a base, the watercolour, because I always come in, well, I'm actually learning to come in with pencils and add colour. So I'm not a confident, I think I've told you this before, I'm not very confident with my colouring in and my shading and stuff. But the only way to get better is to practice and just keep doing it like anything. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm adding a little bit of colour around, a little tiny bit of blue and a bit of grey just around the bath, and some grey on the claw feet. And I mainly use the shadows that Marlene has already added into the stamps as my guide, because as I said, I'm not super confident like a couple of the girls in the design team, so I just follow what is already there. So I'm just giving her some brown hair, coloured in the books. And then I decide, I'm looking at that mirror and I decide it needs to be gold. So I grab the gold paint, and I decide the tap needs to be gold and the claw feet should be gold as well. So I just paint around those. Now I don't do it perfectly. I am quite rough with my watercolouring, because especially in this instance, because I know I'm going to cut them out. So I actually want the colour to come out past the stamp lines so that I don't have to cut them out perfectly either. So I've added a little bit of blue into the bubbles. You're just using some pencils. Now I'm just wondering what my pencils are called, because someone will ask. They are a Derwent Inktense, so they activate in and really become vivid when you add water to them. So they're lots of fun to play with. So I'm just added a little bit of onto each of what I've already created. So the watercolour is the base, and then I come in with a few more stronger colours, I guess, and just build up the colour in the pieces. Sorry if you can hear banging. My family is here and they're all doing all sorts of things. My cat's banging on the door, and so I hope you can't hear too much of that in the background. So now I just fussy cut everything out. You don't really need to watch me do this, but I didn't think to fast forward it. As you know, I'm a big believer in keeping the whole lot in and letting you see my process, because it's how I change my mind about things and add things. Oh yes, there's my cat Ziggy. Just open the door and let him out. Okay. So I'm still just cutting things out. Often when I cut, like for example here, the stool, I will snip some of the legs off because I can glue them back together. Sometimes that's just easier than trying to use a scalpel knife or anything. So I just do whatever is quick and works well. And there I've got my mirror. Now I'm just cutting my books out. So yeah, the new release is just amazing. This is my first play with the new release, and it's so much fun. I don't even know where to start with it. Like Marlene, her releases are always beautiful, but I think there's something really, really special about this one. So yeah, now I'm just playing around, working out where I'm going to put them. I do like, instead of putting the bath off to one side or dead in the centre, I just want it off-centred a little bit. And by having a little bit of it on the second page, you know, like overlapping onto both pages, it just makes it look like one whole page rather than two separate sides. So that's what I am doing here. Sorry about sticking my head in the way, but I need to see exactly where I'm putting them. It's a bit tricky because her head is sort of right on the edge of where the fold is in my little signature. I do fluff around with that part of this a bit. And then her bath mat, I want to have a little bit hanging off, just so I can trim that off and just so it looks a little bit more natural on my page. So they're all stuck on, and now I'm just coming in and adding some of the details that perhaps got lost in my painting. So some of the scroll work in the mirror and the little hook that it's hanging on, that's just too hard to cut out. So I have just hid that, or sort of added that in using a pen. And I'm just going around a few items. I always go over my stripes with the pen, and I don't, as you can see, I'm not doing it neatly. I actually want it to look a bit just hand-drawn. Like I want that sort of look to it. So I add a few lines in. Now at this point, I thought I was finished. I thought that was all I was going to do. And then I decided there's not enough colour. I've got pink and black and a little bit of multicolour on the bath mat and on the books, but I need more colour. And as soon as I started to think about that, I was thinking about adding rainbow colour to the bath. So for those of you who watch all my videos, I did a recent video where it's a sort of a mindfulness technique that I use, where I envision colour and like different colours of the rainbow sort of falling down on me just to give me calmness. And I guess it's the same having a bath, like you're soaking. I'm thinking about soaking in that colour, and just being surrounded by colour makes me happy. So as soon as I had that idea, I started with red, and then I've moved across through the colours of the rainbow, and I want it to look like soap suds and bubbles, so I'm letting it drip down in the bath. And then I'm actually adding a little bit of lace paint over some of the black stripes, just so that the bubbles can sit, because the coloured pencils don't show up at all on the black. So by adding the white first, it gives that base. I could have also used paint to do this, but I just had my pencils handy, so that's what I went with. And I've also then put some white on the floor, as though the bubbles are spilling out over the bath and onto the floor. So this is just me adding bits of colours, and I'm trying to blend them a bit. I want sort of the green to go into the blue and the blue into the purple, and so on. So I'm coming back in, going back and forth a bit with a few colours, and adding water, and just letting it sort of all blend together. But yeah, I was really happy. As soon as I started to do this, I knew that this page was going to come together now, and I'd be really happy with it. So I think it's nice to make your pages personal. My pages always seem to match what's happening in my life, and I like that when I look back on my journaling pages, I can remember exactly where I was at and how I was feeling at that point in time. So yeah, this one I've gone with the relax theme, and there is a stamp that I use out of that new stamp set that says relax, and there's a quote in her new quote book which actually fits perfectly, and it fits this scene perfectly, and I'm just looking for it. It says, "Don't just be good to others, be good to yourself." And I guess I'm just feeling a bit worn out at the moment, just with balancing family and work and all the other things, and sort of a reminder to look after myself, do something nice for me, and perhaps think about soaking in colour as a way to bring me some calm. I'm just adding extra little bubbles in. I use a few little paint pens, just little spots that I might have missed. And just making sure things are stuck down properly. So in a moment I will do those quotes. I love that the new quotes come in the black, the white and the pink. I think the pink's going to be really, really popular. So it's lots of fun. Her range is always lots of fun. And I think I've mentioned that some of my favourites are those new quirky paper elements. I also love the papers. The papers are particularly gorgeous this time. I mean, they always are, but this time they're stunning. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing what the design team comes up with and seeing what you guys all do too. So now I'm just adding that quote on, as I said, and I will just stamp the relax as well. So here I'm just going to fluff around a bit, so I'll go quiet and just let you watch this bit. So now I'm pulling off my tape, and I always heat it up with my heat gun because it means it pulls off without tearing any of the paper. And I'm just coming in again with those pencils and adding some shadows, so just a bit of pencil work around the rug, around the shadows on the rug and the shadows under the bath, just to give it that, take it to that next level. Like, it's just little tiny things that can make a big difference in your final pieces. So that's me done. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my first play with the new release. I certainly had fun creating it, and yeah, I can't wait to see what you all do. I'd love to hear from you when you leave me a comment. Because I always wonder who watches these videos. So I love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be back again in a few days' time with another play. Thanks everyone. Bye.